Number 18, mobile notary and loan signing agent, under $1,000 to get certified. That's the entire cost of entry. And once you're certified, someone hands you $75 to $200 to sit across from them for 30 or 40 minutes while they sign a document. That's it. That's the business. A mortgage closing, a loan signing, any legal document that needs a witnessed signature. You verify their identity, you watch them sign, you stamp it, you leave. Do the math on that hourly rate. A lot of people with graduate degrees don't hit that number. Here's how easy this is to actually start. You take a course, you pass a background check, you get your stamp and your seal, and you're in business. No storefront, no employees, no inventory sitting around losing value. The downside is real though, so let me be straight about it. This doesn't scale into millions on its own. It's a solid, low-risk, low-effort income stream, not an empire. If you want to turn $100 a signing into six figures, you need volume, which means building relationships with title companies and loan officers who send you consistent work. That part takes time and actual networking, not just a stamp. But dollar for dollar invested to get started, this might be the most efficient business on the entire list. Number 17, fire extinguisher inspection. Every commercial building in the country is legally required to get its fire extinguishers checked every single year, not once. Every year, forever, no exceptions. So somebody has to be the one holding the clipboard. You check the pressure gauge, you check the pin, you slap a new tag with the date on it, you move to the next one. 5 minutes an extinguisher, give or take. Here's a moment that actually happened to an inspector I read about. He walked into a restaurant kitchen, found an extinguisher tucked behind a stack of boxes. Tag expired 2 years ago. Nobody had touched it since the last guy left. That restaurant had been one health inspection away from a real problem and didn't even know it. He fixed it in 4 minutes and moved to the next building. That's the whole job. Small, quiet, unnoticed until the one day it isn't. The cost to start is mostly a certification course, a few $100s, and a truck you probably already own. Here's the part that matters. This isn't a one-time sale. It's a client that calls you back automatically every single year because the law makes them. You're not chasing customers, you're just showing up on the calendar. Scaling this is straightforward too. One person with a route of a few hundred buildings is already running a real business. Add a second inspector, double your route, and your income roughly doubles with it because the skill required is low and easy to train someone else on. The downside, it's a volume business. No single client pays you much. You need a lot of buildings on your route before the numbers start to feel real, and that takes time to build. Number 16, small equipment rental, pressure washers, generators, tile saws, the stuff a homeowner needs for exactly one Saturday and never again. A decent pressure washer costs around $600, rented out at $80 a day, and it pays for itself in 8 rental days. After that, every day it goes out, the door is close to pure profit. Think about the last time you needed a pressure washer for one weekend project. Did you buy one, use it twice a year, and let it rust in the garage? Most people do exactly that. This business is just betting that you'd rather pay $80 for a Saturday than $600 for a tool you'll forget about by October. You're not managing people. You're not driving anywhere. People come, they take the machine, they bring it back. Starting this is as simple as buying 5 or 6 machines and putting them somewhere people can find them. A few $1,000s total. Scaling is just buying more machines. There's no ceiling built into the model itself, only how much inventory and yard space you're willing to invest in. The downside, machines break. People don't always bring them back in the condition they left in, and you're competing against big box stores that rent the same tools. So you need to be cheaper, more convenient, or both. Number 15, scaffolding rental. This one stopped me for a second because the numbers are better than they have any right to be. Buy the metal frames once, rent them out over and over for years. Some operators are seeing their entire investment paid back in 50 to 70 rental days. After that, it just keeps earning. The metal doesn't wear out fast. It doesn't need constant replacing. Starting costs more than the equipment rental business above it, usually $8,000 and up depending on how much scaffolding you buy, because contractors need real quantity for a job site. Scaling is simple. Buy more sets, take on bigger jobs, but it does require more storage space and a truck that can move heavy loads. The downside, this is a slower sales cycle. You're not renting to homeowners on a whim, you're negotiating with contractors and project managers, and that takes relationship building most people underestimate. Number 14, laundromats. I know, feels like a business from another decade, but more Americans are renting apartments without a washer and dryer than ever before, and the smart operators noticed. Net margins here can run 20 to 35%, according to industry data. In retail, that number would be a miracle. Starting one is expensive, anywhere from $55,000 for a small existing location, up past $1 million for a large new build with modern machines. Once the machines are in and the plumbing's done, your ongoing cost is basically rent, utilities, and the occasional repair. Some owners have taken this all the way to fully unattended. No staff, just cameras and a phone number taped to the wall, which means it's making money at 3 in the afternoon and 3 in the morning, whether the owner is asleep, on a beach, or anywhere else on the planet. Scaling means opening a second location, then a third, and the operations barely change because you already know the playbook. The downside: high upfront cost, and machines are expensive to replace when they finally wear out. This isn't a business you start with pocket change. Number 13, mobile bike repair. Cities keep adding bike lanes. E-bikes exploded. And e-bikes need repairs. Most people have no idea how to do themselves. So instead of opening a shop and waiting, some operators just bring the shop to the bike. A van, some tools, a route. Starting costs land around $75,000 to $90,000 once you account for a proper van and diagnostic tools for e-bikes specifically, though a scaled-down version with basic tools can start much lower. One operator hit break-even in 2 months. By year 1, they were clearing close to $40,000 in pure profit out of a van. Scaling means a second van, a second technician, a second route through a different part of the city. The downside: this is trend-dependent. It's booming right now because e-bikes are new and mainstream bike shops haven't caught up. That advantage won't last forever. Number 12, mobile car detailing. Think about the last time your car got detailed. Did you drive somewhere? Or did somebody come to you? Increasingly, it's the second one, and that shift is the entire business. Under $1,000 to start. A pressure washer, a vacuum, some towels, the right chemicals. 60 to 80% gross margin because there's no rent, no lease, nothing but supplies and your time. Build a steady base of clients who want their car cleaned every 2 weeks, and some operators report anywhere from $70,000 to over $250,000 a year, solo or with one helper. Scaling here is just adding vans and detailers, and because the entry cost per person is so low, you can grow this faster than almost anything else on the list. The downside: it's physical labor every single day, and burnout is real if you're the one doing the detailing yourself instead of managing a crew. Number 11, appliance repair. Most people, when something breaks, don't know how to fix it, don't want to learn, and would rather pay somebody than deal with it. That gap between broken and I don't want to deal with this is the entire business. Starting requires real tools and training, $5,000 to $50,000 depending on how specialized you get. Margins are thinner here, typically 7 to 17% net, because parts cost money and it takes real skill. But the ceiling is high. Operators who scale into a small fleet of repair vans have reported EBITDA anywhere from $150,000 to $650,000 a year. Scaling means training technicians and adding vans, but this one takes longer to scale than most because the skill itself takes time to teach. The downside: appliances keep changing, circuit boards, sensors, software, and staying current means ongoing training costs that never really stop. Number 10, mobile mechanics, the fleet contract kind. A regular mobile mechanic fixing one car at a time is a fine business, but the ones actually printing money stopped chasing individual drivers. They went after companies with fleets, delivery vans, landscaping trucks. Starting costs vary, but a well-equipped mobile mechanic setup runs anywhere from a modest toolkit and a truck, up to significant investment in diagnostic equipment for newer vehicles. One fleet contract can be worth more than 50 individual customers because now it's predictable, recurring, scheduled work, locked into a single signature. Some fleet-focused mechanics report margins as high as 77%, same skill set as before, just aimed at a completely different customer. Scaling means landing more fleet contracts and hiring mechanics under you, and because each contract is worth so much, this can scale faster in dollar terms than almost any business below it on this list. The downside: landing that first fleet contract is hard. Companies want to see a track record before they hand over their entire vehicle maintenance to someone new. Number 9, Bedliner spraying, a small niche living inside the truck world. Owners want their truck bed protected from scratches and rust. $1,500 to $3,000 for a spray kit to get started. And here's the number that stuck with me: 2 to 3 hours of work nets, around $200 to $225 in gross profit per vehicle. Work out that hourly rate. It rivals what a lot of licensed professionals make. For a skill you can learn in a matter of weeks, scaling this alone has a ceiling. There's only so many bedliners a day one person can spray. The real scale comes from bolting it onto another business like mobile detailing, so you're already talking to truck owners anyway. The downside: it's genuinely a side add-on more than a standalone empire. Treat it as one, and the ceiling shows up fast. Number 8, estate sale and clean-out services. This one's heavier, so let me explain why it works and why it's not as dark as it sounds. Somebody passes away, a family needs to downsize, a divorce forces a house to get cleared out, somebody has to deal with everything left behind, and most families don't want to do it themselves. That's where this business steps in. Sort it, price it, run the sale, take a commission, usually 30 to 40% of whatever sells. Starting costs are low, mostly your time and maybe some basic pricing and inventory software. Here's the quiet advantage nobody talks talks about. This demand doesn't care what the economy is doing. Death happens in good years and bad ones. Divorce happens in good years and bad ones. Downsizing happens regardless of the stock market. Scaling means running more sales simultaneously with multiple small teams, since each sale is really just a weekend project. The downside. This one requires real emotional steadiness. You're walking into someone's hardest month, and if that's not something you can handle with care, this isn't the business for you, no matter how good the numbers look. Number 7. Mobile auto glass repair. A rock kicks up on the highway, cracks a windshield. It's happening to somebody, somewhere, in every city in America today. Starting costs land around $74,000 for proper glass handling equipment and a van setup. Net margins here can run around 65% on a business generating over $200,000 a year for a single operator. No shop, no rent. You drive to the customer wherever their car is and fix the glass right there. And because most insurance covers it with a low or zero deductible, customers barely shop around on price. They just want whoever shows up first. Scaling means more vans, more technicians, and because demand is constant and not seasonal, growth here tends to be steady rather than spiky. The downside. Glass is fragile and expensive to replace if it breaks in transit, so your losses on mishandled inventory can eat into margin fast if you're not careful. Number 6. Alloy wheel repair. Almost entirely hidden because it's business to business. Most regular people don't even know it exists. Dealerships and insurance companies are constantly dealing with scraped, curbed wheel rims. Instead of replacing the whole wheel, a technician sands it down, refinishes it, makes it look new right there in the dealership lot. Starting costs run from around $81,000 up to $264,000 if you go the franchise route, though independent setups can be leaner. Labor's the real cost, 30 to 40% of what you charge, but almost nobody knows this exists as its own business, so competition is thin. Land a few dealership accounts, and you've got recurring work that most consumers will never even hear about. Scaling means more technicians covering more dealership accounts across a wider territory. And because the accounts are B2B and recurring, growth compounds instead of resetting every month. The downside. You're dependent on a small number of large accounts. Lose one big dealership relationship and you feel it immediately. Number 5. Mobile fleet washing. Every delivery van you see driving around gets dirty fast, and companies running 20, 50, 200 vans need somebody to wash all of them on a schedule without the vehicles ever leaving the lot. Starting costs around $35,000 for a proper rig with water tanks and pressure equipment. Same logic as the fleet mechanic. One contract equals dozens of vehicles on repeat, which means revenue that doesn't depend on finding a new customer every day. Same route, same days, same invoice, month after month. Scaling means more rigs and more fleet contracts, and because you're billing per contract instead of per vehicle owner, this scales in big jumps rather than slow crawls. The downside. Water access and disposal regulations vary by city, and getting that wrong can mean fines that eat your margin before you even notice. Number 4. Auto repossession and recovery. 2 in the morning. Somebody's crouched next to a car that isn't theirs, hooking a chain under the bumper, quiet, fast, like they've done this 100 times. They have. When someone stops paying their auto loan, the lender wants the vehicle back, but they don't want to be the one who shows up and takes it. So they pay someone else to. $275 to $450 per vehicle recovered. Starting costs mainly come down to a proper tow rig, $30,000 to $125,000 depending on what you buy. And right now, in 2026, this one's especially relevant. Interest rates went up, car prices went up. A lot of people who financed during the cheap money years are underwater and falling behind. Some recent data shows repossession activity up more than 20% year over year, which means the demand for this isn't slowing down, it's speeding up. 4 vehicles a week at that rate, and a solo operator is looking at $50,000 to $80,000 a year before adding a second truck. Scaling means more trucks and more lender contracts, and because lenders want reliable recovery partners, once you're in with one, they tend to send consistent volume. The downside. This is genuinely uncomfortable work. Showing up to take someone's car is not a pleasant interaction, and there's real personal risk involved that the pay is compensating for. Number 3. Crane rental. Now we're talking real capital. A single crane runs $150,000 to $300,000, but construction sites need cranes constantly, and almost no contractor wants to own one. Owning a crane means maintenance, storage, insurance all year, even during the weeks it just sits there, so they rent instead. Crane rental margins can land in the 35 to 45% range, with a single crane reportedly generating over $250,000 in profit across its working life. One piece of equipment, $250,000 in profit. That's the number that made me stop and read it twice. This is where the list splits into 2 different games, honestly. Everything below this point, you could start this weekend with a few hundred or a few $1,000s. This one needs real capital, real patience, and probably a bank that believes in you. Scaling is the cleanest math on this entire list. Buy a second crane, and you're not just adding income, you're roughly doubling a $250,000 profit stream. 4 or 5 cranes, and you're looking at a business worth well over $1 million in profit alone. This might be the single most straightforward path to real wealth on this whole list, if you can get past the entry cost. The downside. The upfront capital locks a lot of people out, and cranes need skilled operators, maintenance, and insurance that never stops being expensive. Number 2. Towing. This one has the widest margin range of anything I found, and once I understood why, it changed how I saw the entire list. Some towing operators are barely scraping by, 10% margins, competing on price for whoever calls first. Other operators, running the exact same business, are hitting 70%. The difference is one word: contracts. The low-margin operator is waiting for the phone to ring. The high-margin operator locked in agreements with police departments, insurance companies, apartment complexes that need illegally parked cars gone on a schedule. Starting costs run $30,000 to $125,000 for a truck, depending on capacity. One good contract is worth $2,000 to $6,000 a month per truck, guaranteed, whether the phone rings or not. Same trucks, same skill, completely different business, depending on whether you're chasing customers or they're already locked in. Scaling is about contracts, not trucks. Land 5 or 6 solid municipal and insurance contracts, add trucks to service them, and this becomes one of the more scalable businesses on the entire list, because the demand for towing never actually goes away. The downside. Building that contract relationship with a police department or a city takes time, paperwork, and sometimes politics that has nothing to do with how good your trucks are. Which brings us to number 1. Crime scene and biohazard cleanup. $525,000 a year. That's the highest individual owner income I found documented for this business. I almost didn't believe it when I first found it. After a violent crime, an unattended death, certain accidents, someone has to clean and decontaminate the scene properly, safely, under strict biohazard rules. Most people can't do this themselves. It's not just unpleasant, it's genuinely dangerous without training. Getting started costs real money, around $160,000 for a properly equipped van and certified gear. This isn't a mop and good intentions business. Margins can run 20 to 30% on standard jobs, and have been reported as high as 85% on the more complex cleanups. Owner income, once established, has been documented anywhere from $114,000 up to that $525,000 ceiling. Though results like that top figure aren't typical, they're what the strongest operators report. $500,000. From a business almost nobody wants to think about, let alone start. Scaling here means more certified crews and more vans covering a wider region. And because so few companies exist to compete with, an established operator can expand into new cities with far less resistance than in almost any other industry on this list. The downside, and I want to be honest about this one specifically, this work is genuinely difficult emotionally and physically. These crews are handling something a grieving family cannot face themselves, and that weight is real. It's not a business you can treat as just numbers on a page, even though the numbers are what got it to the top of this list. So here's the pattern, sitting underneath all 18 of these. None of them are clever. None of them needed a genius idea or a pitch deck or a garage in Silicon Valley. Every single one is just a problem somebody else doesn't want to deal with, done consistently for somebody willing to pay to make it go away. Nobody wants to clean a biohazard scene. Nobody wants to hunt down a repossessed car at 2 in the morning. Nobody wants to sort through what a relative left behind or crawl under a truck bed with a spray gun. But somebody has to, and whoever's willing to be that person gets paid a premium, not for genius, just for showing up. I think about it like 2 people making the same decision, years apart. One of them spends 2 years chasing the perfect idea, an app nobody's built, a product nobody's thought of. He tells his friends about it at dinner, and they get excited for him. And for a while, he feels like he's finally found the thing. He burns through savings on attempts that never take off, because every idea he has is competing against 1,000 other ambitious people with the exact same idea at the exact same time, all of them convinced they're the one who's going to make it work. The other one doesn't invent anything. He doesn't have a pitch. He buys a small laundromat that's already been running for 15 years, with real customers, real cash flow, nothing to prove. While he's paying off the loan, he adds 2 vending machines in a gym down the street. Nobody claps for this. Nobody asks him about it at dinner. It's not the kind of thing you bring up when someone asks what you do. 4 years later, one of them is still searching for the idea, still telling the story about the thing he's about to build. The other one checks his bank account and there's more in it than there was last month, steady, the way rent from a laundromat or a vending route just keeps landing, whether he's thinking about it or not. And if you ask the people around him, most of them wouldn't even be able to tell you how he actually makes his money. That's how quiet it is. Same starting point, probably the same city. The only real difference was which kind of business each of them was willing to be boring for. That's the whole video, really. 18 businesses, one pattern. The boring ones were never a fallback. They were the answer the whole time. We just weren't looking at them because they didn't look like the businesses we were told to dream about.